Hey everyone, this is Brown at IF Brown. So I was just wanting to um, talk a little bit about how a couple of celebrities that I was familiar with, as well as I'm guessing a bunch of other people were familiar with too, um, had passed away recently. I guess most recently was the musician and artist Coolio, who he's arguably best known for the song "Gangsta's Paradise," which is a really really good song, and as cliche as it sounds, it defined a generation. And I remember I was in elementary school when the movie with Michelle Pfeiffer, Dangerous Minds, came out, and that movie had the song "Gangsta's Paradise" in it, and so anytime that song plays, people thought of the movie, and but it was a good song too, and it was in a time when, in my opinion, rap was really, really good. I mean, artistically, instrumentally, and what have you, lyrically, and it's definitely one of the best, rap songs that came out of the '90s, and I would say just one of the best rap songs, period. But it's just that it did such a good job of telling a story, and Coolio, you could tell, was putting his heart and soul into the song. And I think it's one of those things where when you're younger, like when I was younger, when that song came out, and when I was in elementary school, a lot of us were just like all thinking how cool that song was and how it sounded and everything. And some of the adults would be talking about some of the content in the song and how dark it was. But then fast forward several years later, you get older, you're a teenager, and then you start to appreciate certain things about the song more. And then of course you become a full-on adult, and you really appreciate the song, and what went into it, as well as what it was about. And so when I found out that Coolio had passed away a few days ago, it just it kind of hit hard for me, because it just I never followed his career extensively or anything like that, but I do remember that he did the song. He also did the song "Fantastic Voyage," which was also a really good song. "Gangsta's Paradise," though, I think was probably the song that he's best going to be known for. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's a damn good song, and I mean, to this day, I mean, people still talk about it, and whenever it comes on the radio, it's just people are like, "Oh yeah," and they start talking about where they were, and when that song came out and all that. So I mean, it has a lot of staying power. And Coolio, like I said, I mean, he just put so much heart and soul into the song, and it showed. And I remember I don't remember what the award ceremony was, but it might have been the Grammys or something. But anyway, I just remember that at the time, Coolio won an award for that song. And I was living with my mom at the time, and we had this black and white TV, and so we were watching it. And I remember Mom was like, "Hey, Brown, Coolio, Coolio's on TV." Like, "Oh, really?" And like I said, I mean, I wasn't like a huge rap fan, but at the same time, this was a time where rap music, in my opinion, actually sounded good. And and looking back, it definitely had some good storytelling qualities. But anyway, though, I remember that song, though, Coolio and "Gangsta's Paradise." I mean, everyone knew about that song and knew about Coolio because of that song. And so my mom was saying, "Hey, Brown, Coolio's on TV," and because I think I was watching it, we were having dinner or something, but I wasn't really paying attention. But then when she mentioned that Coolio was there, and they were saying how "Gangsta's Paradise," basically, he won best artist for "Gangsta's Paradise." I don't remember what the award, what exact category was, but he won for that song. And I remember he gets the award, and everyone's cheering, and he's just sort of stunned and looking out at the crowd, and he just shouts, thank you, and all that. And so I just like, I thought that was, I remembered that, and I just thought that was really cool. Just it showed just, I guess, the artist, in a moment of humanity, just being blown away at the fact that something that they did is resonating with so many people. And it wasn't just one of those, awards that, people just randomly give out because, I don't know, the artist checks all the right boxes or, kisses all the right ass, behind the scenes or anything like that. This was like a song that, like I said, it resonated with a lot of people, both in the industry and outside of it. And so it just, the fact that Coolio won for that, to this day, I think that's a really fond memory I have from, back at that time, seeing that on, the TV, watching it with my mom on black and white TV, and just seeing Coolio just, taking it all in and just being thankful and all that. And so, but yeah, just when I, found out that he passed away a couple of days ago, it was really sad. I kind of lost track of, what he had done over the years, but I never forgot that song. I never forgot, that moment. And so, but I'm very glad that, there are people who still remember that song and still, talk about it. And of course, you have younger generation of people who are discovering that song, and in turn are, I guess you could say, rediscovering Coolio in his music. And so, yeah, just definitely, pour one out for Coolio. Hats off to Coolio. R.I.P. The man. The man. Rest in peace to the man. And yeah, but there were two other celebrities that that came to mind who passed away fairly recently that I was kind of surprised about. I wasn't too surprised because these two guys were really old, but at the same time, it's like if there's someone who, you followed their career for a while and then, or you recognize them and then you find out, oh, they passed away. You're like, yeah, I remember that guy or that girl or what have you. They were in such and such. Well, okay, so, the other guy was an actor named Henry Silva, who he was born in, I want to say it was 1926. So he was really up there. I think he was, but yeah, he actually died last month. Which is same month as my birthday. But the kicker is he was born in September and he died in September. So, not like on the exact same day that he was, born or anything like that, but just the same month. And I just like, when I found that, I was like, whoa, that's pretty weird. But at the same time, it just, I wasn't as surprised to find out that he passed away necessarily, but at the same time, because I'd seen him in quite a few movies, and he was always he was always good at what he did. He was one of those actors who you could argue was typecast into playing a bad guy, but the thing is, he was really good at it. Recently I did a review for the Steven Seagal movie Above the Law, where he was the main bad guy in that movie, and one of the things I talked about was they didn't use him as much as like, he wasn't in the movie as much as I would have liked, but for the time that he was in the movie, he was really good, and he did a good job of making you, hate his character, that kind of thing. And but then he was also in another movie called Code of Silence, which is arguably Chuck Norris's best movie, and he was a really good bad guy in that one. He was also in the Burt Reynolds movie Sharky's Machine, which I've seen parts of that movie, and I definitely want to see the rest of it. But he was intense in that one. But he was also in a movie with Forrest Whitaker called Ghost Dog, where Forrest Whitaker is actually kind of a self-made samurai slash hitman. He's a samurai who operates with he's a hitman who operates with a, sort of makeshift samurai code. And Henry Silva is, he doesn't have a huge part in the movie, but at the same time, his presence, it's definitely felt because he's the main mover and shaker, pulling the strings with the bad guys in there. And so, when you see him in that one, he's pretty memorable, even though he's not in it a whole lot. But so yeah, I mean, he's just Henry Silva. He was a very, very good actor. He was excellent at playing bad guys, and I still need to see the original Manchurian Candidate, the black and white version. But if I remember correctly, I heard that he had a pretty big part in that one, and he was also in the original Ocean's 11. So, so some folks who are more familiar with the really old school movies are probably going to remember Henry Silva from those. And so yeah, just the guy died. He was in his 90s, and so he had a pretty good long life, and just R.I.P. to one of the best bad guy actors I've ever seen. And also he had the distinction of being the first actor to do the voice of the villain Bane on Batman the Animated Series, and so I thought that was pretty cool. You had this veteran bad guy actor giving the voice to one of Batman's deadliest enemies, the guy who broke his back in the comics. And so it's like now, anytime I read a Batman comic with Bane in it, I'm hearing Henry Silva's voice. And so it's just, yeah. So, definitely, pour one out for Henry Silva, tip your hat, or hats off to him. R.I.P. He was a really good actor and a damn good bad guy player. And so the last celebrity that whose passing kind of shocked me. Or it was just kind of he's dead. I'm not gonna say shocked. That makes it sound too dramatic. But Alex Cord, who he had been around for a long time. He'd been in a bunch of stuff like a bunch of westerns and things like that. But the main thing I'm familiar with him for is because he was in the TV show Airwolf, wherein he played the supporting character of Archangel, who he was technically a good guy, but he operated in a lot of moral gray area, and it was just he was he played a very intriguing character, and Archangel was an intriguing character as Alex Cord played him. And I remember I not that long ago I finished watching the whole series, and one of the things I pointed out was one of the best things about the show, even though the seasons gradually declined in quality, was the character of Archangel as played by Alex Cord, because his character definitely helped to keep the show at its best. He helped to keep the show from being, say, standard good guys versus bad guys. It was like, yes, Stringfellow Hawk and Dominique Santini, yes, they're the main characters and you're pulling from, and yeah, they're the good guys. But at the same time, the group that they're working for, the firm, as represented by Archangel, was definitely one of those, morally gray organizations, because, yes, they had America's best interests at heart, but at the same time, Archangel's character, there were times where he would do something, or he would be taking part in something that was arguably in America's best interests, but at the same time, it went against, say, the moral character, or the moral traits of, say, Stringfellow Hawk and Dominique Santini. Like, he was one of those characters that had sort of the big picture philosophy. Like, he was willing to do morally questionable things in order to protect the big picture. And I'm pretty sure he was a really good character, and so when his character was written out in season 4, which, the less said about season 4 the better, that was definitely one of the points where I think a lot of fans of the show, kind of turned off because, I mean, he was such a signature part of the show. But yeah, he was a really good character, very memorable. And Alex Cord did a really good job playing him. And there were even a couple of episodes where he had some like spotlight moments where the majority of an episode would focus on his character. And so, yeah, I know I'd seen the actor in some other things, but I'm mainly familiar with him because of seeing him in Airwolf. And yeah, he actually died he died last year, in 2021. I don't remember what month it was, but yeah, his death wasn't a surprise. I mean, considering he was, up there, he was like in the 80s or 90s. But I mean, he lived a full, long life, and there was even, I think there was even a podcast. I listened to some of it a bit ago, where it was like an hour or so, where he was being interviewed, and he talked about his career, and you definitely got the idea that this is a guy who in the showbiz industry, he had definitely seen some stuff, and he was grateful to be a part of certain things, and he was grateful to have had a full life. And so I remember when the podcast opened up, you hear his voice, and even though the guy was pretty old at this point, he was still able to tap into that intense side of Archangel's character, and he says something to the effect of, hello, such and such, this is Archangel, and it's like the guy still had it, like he was still able to tap into that, that part of him from way back in the 80s. And so I thought it was kind of like sort of geek out moment / chills down my spine, so it was pretty cool. But yeah, so when I found out that he had passed away, this is around the same time, because I mean, first you got Coolio passing away, and then then I end up watching and reviewing the Seagal movie Above the Wall, and shortly after that finding out that Henry Silva passed away. And then just by happenstance, I just happened to, I don't know, see something about Alex Cord dying, and so it's like all three guys just kind of hit it. I mean, Alex Cord died in 2021, but I'm just saying I found out about their passings all around the same time. So yeah, pour one out for Alex Cord. Hats off. R.I.P. I definitely need to see more of the stuff that Alex Cord was in, but I mean, I'm always going to remember him. He'll always be Archangel, from Airwolf. And so, but yeah, all three guys, they were very good artists in their fields, and they were very good at what they did. And I'm glad that a lot of people will remember them, for their work, and also, for who they were behind the scenes. And so, rest in peace, guys. Thanks for everything y'all have done for the arts. And all right, that's all I wanted to say. So, y'all have a good day. Take care. Bye.